Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm so glad you could spend some time with me today. Alright, today we're going to have part 2 of the logic board replacement on the 2008 Mac Pro. In part 1, I disassembled the machine, took the old logic board out, got the new logic board in and plugged in. Now I just have to put some things back together, minor details like the RAM, the graphics card. The CPUs. Now, I joke about that a little bit. The CPUs, I'm a little concerned about. The new board did not come with CPUs. The only CPUs I have are ones that did not work on the old board. Now, I tried two different sets of CPUs. Dual 2.8 gigahertz quads and dual 3.2 gigahertz quads. The fact that neither set of CPUs worked is one of the big things that led me to think that there was a logic board problem. So anyhow, I need to get all of that put back together today and see if the darn thing works. Well, I hope you're going to be interested in taking a look at that, and if you are, please stay tuned. Okay, we're going to put things back together in reverse order from which I took them out. We're going to start with the heatsink for the memory controller chipset. I've already cleaned them off, put on the thermal paste, and you can guide the heatsink into place pretty easily by using the slots for the RAM trays here and here. Okay. You don't need this big hex wrench, although you will, of course, when it comes to the CPU heatsinks. More on that later. All right, and we need only now connect the heat sensor. All right, now next is going to be the RAM tray, which will go in like that. This is the power connector for the rear fan, kind of important. And in order to get the RAM tray in with this heatsink in place, which it needs to be, you have to push the fan into the RAM cage. And there were clips that I released, and they released pretty easily. Hopefully, they'll clip back into place later on. Well, this is going to take a little fiddling, so I will pause this right now, and we'll come back, hopefully with a good conclusion. Okay, well that really wasn't too bad at all. The fan did in fact clip right back into place. The monkey with a little bit and push it exactly right, but it did so. The RAM cage is screwed in, at least down here. I'll get these screws later on. You don't absolutely need these screws. I will put them in, but you got to turn the machine, so it's on its feet again. It's the easiest way to do that. So we can do that later. Now, next will be the CPUs, which are installed. You can't really see them from this angle. And the CPU heatsinks, which are these great big things here. Now, I've already cleaned off the CPUs. what I'm going to do, I will do one CPU at a time. This is the heatsink for the lower CPU. It has that wing on there. This is one of the differences between this and the 2006 1,1. All right, so put the pea-size dollop of Arctic Silver 5 thermal paste on the lower processor. I'll then put this heatsink on, and the screws are captive. They're down here. So what you have to do is reach this long wrench down so you can actually screw them in. It's a bit of a pain because of the heatsink being right here, but it is doable. And again, since this is going to take a bit of backing and filling, as the old Vermont saying goes, I'll do this with the video paused, and we will be back hopefully with a successful result. Stay tuned. Well, this wing does make it a little challenging to get down in there and get the temperature sensor properly hooked to the logic board, but I've done it and we seem very secure. Now I simply need to repeat that process for the upper processor. Again, I won't take up your time as I struggle with things a little bit, so stay tuned. All right, CPU heat sinks are on, CPUs are installed. We should be good there. Now, next item of business, the front fan. Now, the power connector for the front fan is here, so it has to slot on right here, or it's kind of useless. It's a little tight getting this in, but we do need to get this screw hole to line up here with the speaker assembly so that we can secure the fan all the way. My memory of this, in doing it with the 2006, it was a lot easier to get this thing out than it was to get this thing back in. So again, I'm going to take my time and we will bring you back hopefully with a successful conclusion. Stay tuned. What a pain this is. All right, you see that screw down there in the center of the screen. It was unbelievable trying to get that thing to go in. It slipped off the screwdriver and disappeared into the Mac Pro. By tilting it around, I managed to get it back out again. But once I got it in, I don't think I can give you a good angle on this. Yeah, you can just barely see it in there. The screw back in this area, could not get that in. So I had to take that screw back out, turn it on its side, get this screw in, which made this screw almost impossible to get in. Well, I shouldn't say that because I did get it in. I mean, Lord only knows if it's going to work, but hey, it's there. Okay, so we kind of need some RAM. We kind of need a graphics card. I will do those things. Oh yeah, and put the cover on. That's not a real hard thing to do. In fact, I just did it there with one hand because of the magnets. Way easier than with the clips on 2006. Okay, well, we're in the home stretch anyway. Stay tuned. Well, it's all back together. We've got 16 gig of RAM in there. The graphics card is back in. Only one drive. I've got an SSD that's got a working installation of LCAP on it, which of course this machine will run, and that will serve at least to tell us if we have something functioning or not. Well, so I've got to stand her up, plug it in, and we will then see if it boots. Stay tuned. Well, here it is. I'm leaving the door off. If I have any problems here, there are a series of error lights that you may see illuminate in the RAM cage. A little hard to see, but they're pretty bright red lights, and that can tell you a number of things. It can tell you RAM problems and what RAM module might be the problem. It also has indicators for CPUs, so let's hope that's not a problem here. Well, yeah, I have. That's a 2010 Mac Pro right now. I actually have 6 Mac Pros all running at the same time. Okay, light came on. And it chimed. All right, and we have video. Okay. There are no lights on. Come on. We don't have an Apple logo yet. But, and we have an Apple logo. Well, of course, you know, it probably had to take a certain amount of time to find that LCAP installation on the SSD. Okay, system clock is incorrect. Wi-Fi card is working because I can see it up here. Yeah, it's given up. It was searching for a network, but I'll have to go through and set that up. Yeah, the system clock is incorrect. That warning is simply because I took out the NVRAM battery and replaced it. So I'll be resetting that. But I'll take a quick look here. All right. Mac Pro early 2008. 2 by 3.2 gigahertz quad-core Intel Xeons. 16 gigs of RAM show up. And the graphics card. I'll be darned. It worked. It really worked. Well, okay, what now, you ask? Well, I've got the 2008 Mac Pro that I had that was working has got 2.8 gigahertz quads. So I think the thing to do here is going to be transfer everything, including the upgraded graphics card, from that machine to this machine, and then we can do some CPU comparisons with that, which I suspect I'm going to leave for another video. But yeah, so that's what I do is move the various components, upgraded components from it's that Mac Pro there into this one, and run benchmarks, do some folding, and see just how much what basically ends up being a processor upgrade means. Well, you cannot imagine how relieved I am to see this screen. Now, next time you see this, we should have, yes, the 2.32 gigahertz quad-core Xeons. It will say, at that point, 32 gigabytes of memory. And the graphics will be the Quadro, which was featured in an earlier video. And then we go from there. Now, what I'm going to do with that other machine now, you know I could sell it I mean, that's clearly because I don't need two 2008 Mac Pros. Or I might just try putting Windows on it. I don't have a Windows computer. It would be interesting to at least be able to boot something up into Windows now and again. And that would be something that I haven't done. But here we are. That was an awful lot of work. Very difficult. But it's paid off. Well, I certainly hope that you have enjoyed this. Be good to other people. Your world is going to be better if we can all do that. Be good to yourselves so you can enjoy that better world. And I sincerely hope that it's going to be better. But for now, take very good and careful care in these very difficult times. We will be back with you very soon with more videos. This has been Broken Electronics.